Hello, everyone. My name is Mirna, and on behalf of the Mindalia TV team, welcome to Mindalia live streaming, where thousands of people around the world gather daily to see the lectures and interviews organized by Mindalia TV. Today with us, Sunny Chayes. Sunny is not only the host of this show, but she's also the host of ABC Solutionary Sundays. She is the featured writer and chief strategist for Whole Life Times, which is the longest conscious life magazine running in America. Sunny is a producer, a moderator, a musician, and a mythbuster. Today, we are going to be having a very interesting conversation with her. Interesting and useful conversation. But before starting with Sunny, we want to remind you that Mindalia's mission is to share information that can help raise the level of consciousness in the planet, and you can help us by subscribing to our channel, leaving us a positive comment on this video, or sharing it with someone that you know that can benefit of the content that we're going to be talking here today. Also, while live streaming, we have an active chat screen that you're going to be seeing here on my side, and through there, we invite you to interact with us. You can also collaborate with Mindalia with your own valuable content, and for that, you can go to our website. You're going to find there a link that says Collaborate with Mindalia, and that link takes you to a form that you can fill out for our technical team to be getting in contact with you. You can collaborate with us in English through Mindalia TV English, but you can also do it in Spanish through Mindalia Televisión, and Portuguese through Mindalia Televisao. Sorry about that. I'm not going to be delaying this any further, and I have the great pleasure of introducing Sunny Chayes. Sunny,
Hello,
welcome.
people. Hi.
Good
Good morning,
morning to you.
Myrna.
Yes, we're going
Oh,
to say good morning because although this is going to be playing at any time, anywhere, for you it's the morning. For you are in
yes.
LA and it's 9 in the morning. So thank you for being with us.
And in some spiritual communities, they say good morning all the time, no matter what time of day or night it is, because it's sort of the beginning. So that's why I also say good morning, even though it is quite early here and I am having my tea. So I'm excited to be chatting with you today about anything you want, but I know we have one fun thing that we definitely want to bring to the people.
Yes, we do have one fun thing, and it's kind of the recurrent theme. Every week we meet with someone different, and we keep thinking and talking about how are we going to actually integrate all the knowledge that we're getting through spirituality, through all the currents and all the wisdom that we have the blessing of being exposed to. And
Yes.
one of the things that is a great concern to you and to me is our environment. You
Yes,
are
the
an active,
planet.
yes, you are an
Yeah.
activist, a great environmentalist, and throughout the conversations I've been having with you, I understand that you've been living this lifestyle of consciousness for quite some time. And I just want you to steal your ideas and allow you to share with us some of the things that you do
Well,
to keep it clean.
thank you. I'm so excited to do that. Sorry, I was even stepping on your words because I'm like a little racehorse in the stable wanting to come out. I'm so excited to be able to really lay it out because the first thing that I want to say to everyone is when we think about the Mother Earth, we think about our actions every day. If we're a mom, our actions, the actions that we set for our family, for our kids, we're the mother of our earth, and so we have a lot to say about it. We can do a lot to make a difference, and I know that we often feel like, what does one thing matter? What does one person matter? What does one step matter? What does one action matter? When so many things are going crazy all around me, when there's pollution from just so many huge companies and all these huge things are happening, what in the dickens does it matter if I don't drink out of a plastic bottle, for example? And I am here to tell you, absolutely 100%, it does matter. Every action that we take, every action that we don't take, every moment that we are walking on this earth, we are making choices. And every choice we make makes a difference. And this is how it works, first of all. It's the ripple effect. So yes, we have the companies doing big, big things in the world, and we have billions of human beings on this earth. And if each of us, or even a tipping point amount, because it wouldn't necessarily be each of us, do different things or a few things each day, we can change the bigger picture. And it actually works into how we vote. We vote with our dollar. Companies want our money. So at some point, it's not just the small little things that we do that we don't use that plastic bottle today. It also triples out and ripples out in that it does ultimately make a huge difference. And I've learned this from scientists, I've learned this from theologians, and this isn't just something that I'm saying to make us feel better. It's actually the truth. So that's my opening statement about this.
And it is actually a great opening statement. So you may consider, for what I'm hearing, that probably it's not the effect of that less plastic bottle of water, but actually the effect of the influence that you are giving to the people around you. So they
Well,
see
it's
that you can
both.
do it and they can do it. Is
It's
it something like
actually
that?
it's all of it. So this is what I feel, and this is what again is not just my feeling, but I've worked with environmentalists and as I say, scientists and people who've worked on these subjects in politics and in just activation for many years. And the truth is that okay, so for example, for me, I don't use plastic bottles, so I think that I can say to my grandchild or my great niece, when she asks me what I did, I can say from the time of 2001, probably before that, but I can say really, really honestly, from 2001 until whatever day it is that we're talking in 2025, that I have used 1 to 2 plastic bottles a year. And that is really the truth for me. And not only that, but I have had other people in my world. I've had parties, I've had events, I've hosted international students in my home. I've had hundreds of them, and I have not allowed any plastic bottles. I don't allow any paper napkins. There are many other. I don't use any paper plates or forks or spoons, any single-use plastic whatsoever. So for all those years, when I'm talking to my grandchild in 2025 and they say, "What did you do, Aunt Sunny or Grandma Sunny?" I'll say, "This is what I did." So I think that rocks. I'm really grateful I'm going to be very grateful to be able to say that.
And we are very proud that you are part of our team, because that is very amazing. And you know what I like the most is that the coherence between the lifestyle that we are talking about on a daily basis. Because and I was actually hearing about that earlier, how we see in this industry or in this area of life that we are learning, we're saying, we're preaching, we're talking, but is our lifestyle actually coherent? Are we actually living the purpose that we are so enthusiastic about? And I can say, I've known you for quite some time now, and I do know that you live a purpose. I remember that once you told me about how even when your children were little, you didn't use like tissues for their noses. You had actually a wipe that you would wash. And I'm trying. I
Well,
promise you I'm trying. I can't always do it, but I'm trying.
Well, this is the point that I really want to make to everybody, because we all can do what we can do, and part of it is people do say I'm trying, and one thing that I can say right now is that there are things that you can actually do that are much easier than you think. When you think about it ahead of time, it seems difficult, and there's a word that I love, and there's a word that I don't care for so much, and that is the word convenience or inconvenience. And when it comes to that in our world, people will use that word. And then I have to say to them when they say, "Well, it's convenient for me to give my son a plastic bottle of water after soccer." And I say, "Yeah, but it's not convenient for the dolphin mom to end up with that baby dolphin having that water bottle in the baby dolphin's stomach. That's not convenient." So I think that we can shift ourselves a little bit. We can shift that radio dial and say, let's get more conscious with these things. And let me give you a few tips, actually, give you and let you know. Because first of
Yes.
all, the thing with plastic bottles is that unfortunately we're using even more today than we did 5 years ago or even 3 years ago, which is really unfortunate because the news has come out about how we shouldn't use them. And unfortunately, we're actually using more today. I think we use a million. Um, uh, it's some crazy thing like a million a minute in the world. So it's really, really over the top. And I also want to mention that the water in the plastic is not healthy. So even though it says it's healthy and all that, we're giving it to our little 3-year-old child in the back seat. We turn around, we hand it to them as we're driving. It's not a health product. So not only is it not good for our environment, it's not good for our little ones that we're giving them to. So that's really important for us to remember. Well, so now what do we do? We've got to give the little one water. What do we do? Well, um, I mean, there are the different things that you can get now that are the quote unquote better plastics, fine, that are reusable, fine. The first sort of rule I would say is that it's just not okay to use single use anything. It's just not okay. A plastic bag, a fork, a spoon, a plate, even going to Starbucks, none of that, it's just really not okay. So, and it's also not good for us. So we can think of different ways to do it. They have different products that you can get for babies and little kids that even are glass, but they have like rubber or cork around them to protect. There's a company called Golden Ratio who we've actually had on the show, and they have many,
Exactly.
many products for babies. They have baby bottles, they have baby drinky things with like sippy cup kind of things, and then they have grown-up ones for us. So there's that to use. And then we can also use as much kind of glass as we can. Like, for example, for me, I love running around LA and I love coffee. But I haven't taken a Starbucks coffee cup in, I don't know, 10 years. I go in with a glass jar, like, that coconut oil that we all use from Trader Joe's or whatever. That
Amazing,
can,
yeah.
it fits perfectly in the car. I mean,
Okay.
boom, right into your cup holder thing, and it holds boiling hot water, and you can put boiling coffee in it. It keeps it cold or hot, cold or hot, for about an hour at least, and use that, guys. Get creative. And these things, when we use different things over and over again, it also saves money. Like, I don't use plastic bags for trash. I don't use hefty bags or any of that. I love Ezekiel bread and different sprouted bread, but unfortunately, they always come in plastic, those plastic sack bag things. But then I use that, I keep those bags, and then I use that for my trash. So I've saved, if I think of how much money I've saved on single use products that I never buy, there's that even. So it's the love, it's the gratitude, and it's the graciousness. And in the 50s, 60s, 70s, plastic didn't come around, by the way, until 1974. So for you youngins out there, I mean, we actually lived without plastic. We made it through a day without plastic, at least single-use plastic. We actually, woke up and went to sleep every day without plastic bags. So we can do it.
And it's scary how in 30, 40 years we have made so much damage. I always like to leave these meetings with the note of the fact that yes, this is happening, but this is all the things that we can do to make it stop. I loved when
Mm-hmm.
you said about the dolphin, and okay, yes, it's convenient for you to give your child a bottle of water, but it's not convenient for the mother in the ocean to have their babies that are sentient beings that are actually, we're polluting their environment, their house. So basically the proposal is to leave a little bit aside this anthropocentric culture in
Yes,
which it's not only meeting our basic needs, it's exceeding and it's spoiling in not only with water and food, but with shelter, with clothes, with shoes. We go from in how did that happen? At what point our basic needs, what we need actually to live and to be okay, came from that to the exacerbation, the jumbo. Like a family of four doesn't need a 5,000 square feet house. So
exactly. Well,
what?
this is
Mhm.
I mean, it has actually expanded, and many, many things have. And I could get into why we have so many more clothes for so much less money. Part of the thing that has happened in the last 150 years with clothes, for example, is that clothes were very, very treasured, each piece, because it was handmade, it was hand dyed, it was hand sewn, it was designed for each person. There was so much care taken, so most people had very few items, and even in our country of America, for example, um, in the 40s, 50s, even early 60s, or before then, we didn't even have department stores and things like that where you went in and bought clothes and shoes and hats and gloves and things. we Everyone made them, or there were small companies that would make things like gloves and hats where you would make them, but most women knew how to sew and made clothes for themselves and for their kids. So obviously the mom didn't have time to make 15 t-shirts a week and or whatever. So each thing again was treasured, each thing was used and used. Shoes were made beautifully, and proportionately to now, they were actually a lot more money. And so people would resole them and polish them. And, people had a few things and they really took care of them. And then at a certain point, and this is kind of a long story, but it came in with the idea of the container and China making clothes. And to be honest, it was actually cheaper for, let's say, the Gap if they wanted 10,000 Dockers or, those like khaki pants. Well, it was cheaper to have 30,000 made because it's a long story and I won't get into it now, but it was actually not per piece, actually cheaper in completely. And then they would ship over these 30,000. Well, Gap really only needed 10. Okay, so maybe they needed 12 or 15, but then they had so many extras, so they put things on sale and people bought more. And then things like Ross and Marshalls and these kinds of shops sprung up because there was so much extra stuff in the stores. They didn't have any place to put it. So then all these other stores happen. You have the extra, and then there's extra, extra. And if you go into thrift shops, you see they're jammed with clothes. So we don't really need, so anyway, that's a little bit of the history of why that happened. And then what's also happened is the quality went down and down and down. So things kind of do fall apart. They don't have the longevity that they used to have. So that's unfortunate. So that's here now. I mean, I don't know if it's here to stay. I'm not sure what will happen with that. But we can, if we're moms or dads or grandmothers or aunties, I mean, we can instill in our kids even though they have pressure from school, we can have the idea that they can really treasure the things that we do buy them, and just don't buy as much.
You know
Just
what
don't buy as much.
what comes to my mind?
Mm,
Um, just a word, just a term. It's like a decalibration of the energy of sustenance, the energy of being fulfilled. I just don't even know the word in English. I think it's sustenance, but I'm not sure. It's the energy of being sustained, the energy of
mhm.
being your energy,
Like
your needs
supported.
met. Yeah, not only supported, but being alive, having what you need. So that
Mm,
energy, like remember that the when we did the trust frequency, that they
mhm.
talked about that energy of having everything covered. How did they
Yeah.
call it? So what I feel is that that energy at this point in the planet, it's kind of wiggling. So in some
Mm,
places they just feel like they don't have anything, and then in places like this wonderful country, it's like too much because we throw away absolutely everything: shoes, toys, washer, dryers, refrigerators. So I kind of, in my eternal optimistic approach, that this is a process of balancing, and at a certain point, as we grow and as our consciousness starts developing to where it's supposed to be going, there's going to be a point in which that's going to be balanced. And then
beautiful. Beautiful, Myrna. Well, when you're saying that, it's reminding me of another subject, which is food. So it's specifically to that point, even down the street from where I live, there are people who don't have food. And then there are people next door to me who have so much extra food, it's, crazy. And the statistics have come out that we throw away 40% of the food that we eat, that we buy. And so what I want to say about that is, couple things. First of all, when we go to a restaurant and we're ordering our food, and I'm a little goofy. I actually bring my own container because I know I'm not going to eat everything. So I make sure I don't take one of those, whatever they're doing.
That makes sense. At this point, zero shame.
You know what? And the other thing is I always make sure that whatever I order, I eat, enjoy and everything, and then I take everything home with me that's on that plate. Because when you think, let's say you're ordering an enchilada, and the ingredients that went into that enchilada, we think, oh, it's just this enchilada and rice and beans, and we're just eating it. But if you actually take a moment to think of how many people were involved in that plate, between the corn and the beans and the rice and the tortilla and the guacamole and the salsa and the sour cream. I mean, there were animals involved. There were people farming. There were people cultivating. There were people picking. There were people sorting. There were people shipping. There were people shipping to somewhere else. There were people cooking that food. And then there were people delivering it to you. And so, and that's a simple, simplistic way of saying each thing that's on that plate went through many miles, and so much water was used, and so many resources were used, and so much love, and so many, people working day and night to till the soil, to plant those seeds and to bring it to your plate. It's way, way too much to waste, guys. It's way too much. So if nothing else, take that food home in your container you bring and enjoy it the next day. And that also means that next day you're not having yet other food. So it's just, and then all the packaging that goes with every single thing that's on that plate. So if we think of the expansiveness of that one action of eating our whole meal, or taking it home and making 2 meals out of it, it's exponentially sort of boom, mind-boggling, isn't it?
It is, and it's just simply put, because it's an eternal chain of people and animals and resources involved, and you doing that is just an act of kindness. It's an act of love. People will
Amen.
say it, and we've talked about this before, that they may joke, they may laugh about you, they make fun of what you're doing. They can say, oh, it's just so cheap. No, no, it's kindness, it's love, it's a way of honoring the process.
Yes.
And I can
Yes.
only imagine, Sunny, because this is a movement that it doesn't start too long ago. What you're saying, what we're talking, and the media, thanks God, is actually using a lot of resources to bring these ideas out. But you've been doing this for 20 years.
At least,
I
you
can only
know,
imagine the resilience and how after I can only imagine how what people have told you throughout the years, and you are still there. So that talks great about you. That the
oh,
love for others and for every being involved in each process from you is so big, and your concern and your involvement in this movement is so big and so important to you that you endured regardless.
thank you.
How
Oh,
many things you can make a list, I guess, of the things that you have heard of people saying to you for doing that, especially 20 years
you,
ago.
so true. By the way, but one thing that I do want to, that you made me think of when you were talking about the going to a restaurant and doing what I just explained, and of course that's the same in our home naturally. It's the same with our kids. It's also the same with shopping. So we shop, with our dollar. First of all, I choose things that are not as packaged if possible. So I pick things that are, again, not as packaged. I buy what I need. I don't buy extra things that maybe will go, rot in the refrigerator or whatever, because again, that's just so much wasted love and energy. And it also makes me think of the when you were mentioning the animals, so for those who do eat dairy or meat products, you know, it's the Dalai Lama actually is not a vegetarian. So I mean, we do believe in that, and of course, it's so much better to not eat very much beef because beef is the animal, the cow, the grazing, the water, the land. There's so much resource that goes to that, and many years ago, we didn't eat as much. We didn't have as many cows. We didn't eat as much beef. And now we eat more and more. So it is becoming a problem to kind of, again, find the balance. But I, also think of the native peoples and how if they did or when they did kill a buffalo or a deer or an elk, every part, first of all, it was completely honored and there was a ceremony around it, and the heart was cut out, and there was something very ceremonial that went on with the animal's heart, and there was a lot of connection with the human being and the animal, and every part that could possibly be used was used. So nothing was wasted, nothing. Even putting elements of it back into the soil to then plant seeds on to grow other things. So that is again, something that you were mentioning earlier is something that we've lost track of, inside of, and necessity for, because we don't need to anymore. We can go to, at least in some parts of the world, like you're saying, the balance is off. In some places, no, and in some places, too much. We can just go buy more, buy more, buy more. We don't think of that. So again, I think that if we can calm ourselves down and realize that it is about using every single bit and being sacred with our food. And it's
Yes.
also much healthier for us when we eat in a sacred way.
And it's the way they did it, the way that natives did it and do it where they still can. It's more in harmony with the circle of life. You are
Absolutely.
participating in the wheel of what this is supposed to be, and you're not taking advantage of your power over other beings.
Amen. Amen, my beautiful sister. Another tip that I want to give you guys, and this is again, I mean, this can be cheap or this can be fun. I mean, sometimes we can make games out of this, so we can have fun. We do buy many things come in plastic. Uh, Hair washing products, face washing products, gosh, so many things. And I use every single bit of it. And my sisters or different people who see me if we go on a vacation and they see my products, they say, oh my gosh, I would have thrown that out like, I can't believe it. No. I find that I can use probably 5 more uses out of things. And like, for example, shampoo, what I'll do is um, I add water to the soap anyway, because that's what we're actually supposed to do. We're not supposed to use it concentrated on our head. So we're supposed to actually take the shampoo and put it in a little container, let's say a little, unfortunate plastic cup or something that doesn't break in the shower. Or its lid or something, and then add water to it and get it sudsy and then wash our hair. So that way we use that plastic bottle probably twice as long, maybe 2.5 times as long. And then when we get to that end, go ahead, turn it on its upside down, get everything out of it, put water in it, get every single bit out of that. When we have toothpaste, cut it open, and get that last bit, every single last bit out of that. So again, it saves money. And when we do those kinds of things, and also with food products, the last bit of the mayonnaise, the last bit of whatever it is, just don't throw that out and think it's gone. Take a little water. If we have tomato sauce in a glass container, put a little more water in it at the end, shake it up and pour it into your the last bit of that sauce. Don't waste anything, because again, it saves pennies, it saves dollars. Over the years, it saves lots of dollars, saves trips to the store, and it also is, it's just the way we should be doing it. I don't even know how to put it. It's just like it amazes me when people don't do it.
Yeah, I agree with you. And it's like whatever you see it, like from whatever angle you want to see it, is the best way. You're honoring the work it took you to buy it. You're honoring the people that was involved in the process. You're honoring the environment. You are reusing. You're reducing. You're helping your economy. Ecologically speaking, is also good. Tell me something else. You live in LA. LA is very hot. What do you do with the AC? Because that's something I've never thought about until recently, that I saw a guy doing a live stream in Instagram, and he was saying like, okay, how about the fact that you can't spend a couple hours in 80 degrees? Why? Because you are who? Like, yeah, put a
Okay,
fan, get
you're
get
getting
get something lighter, a lighter piece of clothing. You don't need to be wearing a sweater in summer, so you can be in 60 degrees inside the
okay.
AC.
You're again. I feel like the horse trying to jump out of my skin
Where
to
to
talk to.
chatters?
Okay, I have some funny stories about that. Okay, I first of all, I don't use AC in the house. I don't use AC in my car. It's 85 to 95 to 100 degrees in my car. The only time I turn the AC on is when my cell phone, it'll have a little notice and it'll say, your iPhone needs to cool down. Then I realize, uh-oh, okay. What I do in my car, I mean, I've done this even with trips across, from LA to Arizona. I put, this is so
This is
funny, but
extreme.
I put a bathing suit on and a towel on the back of my seat, and I just kind of sweat. It's kind of like a sauna, but it uses so much less gas. It's amazing. I also have a fan in my car. So I will just like if it gets a little bit hot, I'll just fan myself. And then at home, I just don't turn it on. It's like, I'm so sorry. I just don't get to. Like, I just don't. So we do have overhead fans, which use some energy too, but it's not like an AC for sure. And yeah, that's what I do. So for people, again, with that, it is really being creative. And I mean, there are other little things I do and I've done forever. For example, if I'm using, of course, turning the lights off in the rooms you're not in, of course. Um, and then things like I've always done, when I cook, I use the fire, to make eggs or pasta or whatever I'm making. But I turn off the oven or I turn off the stove earlier because the heat's still there. And so instead of having it cool down with nothing in it, the oven, I cool, it's still hot for maybe 10, 15 minutes. So I just turn it down or off early. Also, I end up not burning as many things as I sometimes do.
That's
And
actually that's very useful for me.
so those are tricks that I do. When it comes to water, this is something for me when people are using water, washing dishes or anything. For some reason, it feels like a stab to my heart when I watch people just letting the water run.
Can
So
you
when you're
believe there's still people doing that, like brushing their teeth with the faucet on until the world ends?
or washing dishes. So one of the things guys notice that when you're doing it is sometimes when people are, let's say, scrubbing out the sink, they'll just have the water running while you're scrubbing the sink. Or if you're washing a pan that's really, has baked on stuff or whatever you're scrubbing, and you just let the water keep going, keep going. No, turn the water off, put some water in the pan, get out your, soap and scrub it till it's clean, and then rinse it, turn the water back on and rinse it. It's much, much better to turn it on and off, and just let it running for 30 minutes when you're doing the dishes. And I also do things like I take, let's say I have a pot for spaghetti or something. Then in that, I'll just throw everything in and I do the dishes right after dinner because you use much less water. It's much nicer too to have the kitchen clean. But then it doesn't get baked, that overnight thing or in a couple hours. It takes 3 times as much water to get it off. So, and also just taking it and throwing it in, if you have your dish water filled up, just throwing the forks and spoons and smaller things just all in there, so you don't need as much water.
Hmm.
And one other fun thing I want to talk. Well, did you have a comment to that? I feel
Yes, but I want to. Yes, I'm like, yeah, please let me in. Um, what I was saying is that no wonder why, like we started talking about how one person can actually start making a change that we want to see in the world, how one person can actually live a lifestyle that is going to have a ripple effect on the other people. And I was just thinking, like, definitely plant a seed is a song that fits you, that is you. Is you talking through music, and I'm so grateful that you are gonna be share that already with our Mindalia music channel, and you're gonna be sharing a little bit of that with us today.
Yes. Well, the idea of plant a seed is, again, such a beautiful, beautiful concept because when we do that, we're not just doing our own action, but we're also modeling for others. And, again, in our family, if we're doing things like that, people see us, our kids see us, our kids' friends see us. So many things go on around us that we're not even noticing it, especially when we're really in it and we're in our authenticity and we're in our beauty and we're just doing our life and it just makes sense to us. It feels so much more real that anybody who's witnessing us is really being affected by that. And again, that's what the scientists have told me, that witnessing is what actually creates part of the ripple effect. Part of it is energy that we don't see, and part of it is what we do see. So the seen and unseen is such an effect. And one thing that you were when we were talking about kids, I want to talk about birthday parties because I feel like that's such a place to model, not just for our kids, not just to not use all of the stuff that people use at birthday parties, but also to model to all those other moms and dads who come and aunties and grandmas. So, for example, with birthday parties, let's not use balloons. They're horrible.
They
Um,
are
they
horrible.
get everywhere. They even get into the power lines and make problems for PG&E or those kinds of things. So balloons are not necessary. Do creative things with decoration if you need to, but do things that are not metallic or plastic or rubber, if at all possible. As far as food goes, again, please try not to use all the paper, this and that and everything. And I know in the stores they do such cute things for Lion King or this or that. So fun. Um, I mean, you could do things because at birthday parties, one of the things that's so fun about birthday parties for little kids is to do activities. I mean, that's what they're kind of there for. So you could even do artistic things where, let's say, you're doing something where you are making things, or if you do end up having something that they can decorate themselves for activities. The other thing that I love is for the party favor thing that people give the goodie bags at the end. I have noticed over the years, my kids are, a little bit older now, but I've gone to 100 birthday parties probably. And everything that's in that goodie bag is just crappy stuff that gets thrown out.
It's trash.
And it's cheap, it's crappy, it's not even safe, it's not even good, and it's stupid candy and things like that that I don't even let my kids have. So instead of doing things like that, and they're not cheap to buy for the parents. So instead of doing something like that, you could actually do something like buying seed packets and a little pot and little soil, and that's so much cheaper. It's so much more fun, and the kids can go home with their mom and dad and plant seeds and have flowers. So things like that are really, really fun that they can do, I highly recommend. And I think what I'm really asking of everyone is to use our imagination and our creativity, because that's what people did before, when people reused and reused and reused, repurpose. These days people talk about recycling like that's a big buzzword and that's the be all and end all. Well, I recycle. Guys, it's not where it's at, as people used to say in the 60s. Unfortunately, maybe 10% of the things that we actually recycle get recycled, number one. So it's not a great solution. The real solution is to reuse, and the real solution is to perhaps not use in the first place. So if we can just work with what we already have, great. If we do buy something, just reuse it until you just can't even recognize it anymore.
Going back to the birthday parties, I actually think it's a great idea even for reusing. We're talking about, well, I save everything. The preserves bottle, how's it called? Like a pot, the preserves pot and the bags and everything, I reuse it. Something that concerns me a lot is when picking up my dog's uh, disposes. it's
Uh-huh.
something also that requires a bag. And the other day I saw a post when someone was using actually leaves, big tree leaves. You just pick it up and you put it somewhere else, and that's also a way, because it's a bag a day, or at least a couple of bags a day, and it's something that you can't leave behind in someone else's path. But again, it's you're asking to use creativity, and it's a huge challenge when we are massively exposed to media that is constantly bombarding us with buying, getting, using, achieving, and it's never giving us information about how all fulfilled we already are. No one, there's no
Yeah.
advertising that says you have enough, you don't need anything else. Of course it doesn't make money.
Well, you have such a great point, a couple of points. And the thing is about with the all the different things that are wet that we do need to figure out how to deal with. Again, if we really think in our lives, how many times we get bags in things, unfortunately, that are plastic, just save all those. Unfortunately, it does happen. But like I say, with cookie bags, with potato, with snack bags, all of those things can be kept because they're amazing containers. Let's say you get what do I want to say? Health food chips, of course, because that's what we use. But those things are serious. I mean, they are sturdy as the day is long. So those things can be definitely safe. They're not that dirty either. You can just sort of have them and then use them for those kinds of things where you need to figure something out that's not as pleasant. Um, I don't have things in my house, like I don't have paper towels. I was trying to remember what those things were because my kids, like, I will have a one of those rolls of paper towels back so nobody really sees where they are, and I'll have one for about a year, and I will use them for just if somebody throws up. I mean, I don't know, something that's just
That
it has to be
requires that
it has to be
definitely.
disastrous for me to use that. Otherwise, I will just use cloth things that you can re-clean. And again,
Can you repeat the idea about what you think is um, a super good idea for kids' birthday parties?
okay,
You said a
so
pot and
yes, so the little pot, and then that you can just get at your local wherever. I mean, they have them all over the place, and they're about a dollar
what
twenty-nine.
do you do in the pot?
And that's for, well, actually, that's for the seeds. Are you trying to get me to say?
I'm
I'm,
just
uh,
saying. I'm
I'm
just
gonna
trying to
definitely
steer the conversation towards where I want it to go.
I'm definitely going to do that. One thing also that you can do with the pot, though, that I'm thinking of it is that could be one of the projects that kids have where they can paint the pot. It's super fun to paint those clay pots. And so you can just bring paints and little brushes and stuff, and the kids, depending on their ages, but even 3-year-olds can do that kind of thing. And they can just do goofy things on the pot if they're 3-year-olds, and they can be very artistic if they're 9-year-olds and everything. And then that not only is the activity that they're doing for the day, or one of the activities, I'm sure you'll have a few, but that one, and then that gets to be what they get to take home with them. So it's super, super fun to do that. Another thing that I want to mention is straws. We don't need to use
Please,
them.
please.
We use in America 500 million straws a day, which is the same size, if you can imagine, 126 school buses a day filled with straws, if you can even imagine that. So we don't need to use them. And some people may say, well, but if I'm in a restaurant, I don't want the germs from the glass. Well,
You're not gonna die.
not only that, but you trust the restaurant to give you a coffee cup. You trust the restaurant to give you a glass of wine, fork, spoon, knife, plate, bowl, whatever. So why do you not trust a glass of water? That just seems okay, guys, you get it. So
It's
let's
funny, yeah. People are open to share, let's say, a cigar,
right.
but they're not
But I
open to
mean,
drink from a restaurant glass, and they are cooking for you.
seriously, like when you go into a restaurant, people feel like for some reason the germs are going to be a problem. Or if you're going to if you're having margaritas, you're having cocktails, the same thing. You don't need the straw. And the straws are ubiquitous. We can't really recycle them very well, and they're really, really difficult to deal with. So that's another one. And then I definitely do want to end our conversation, and I know we're going to do that in about 5 minutes. And so I wanted to ask you if you have, I'm going to kind of end with plant a seed, but I wanted to ask you if you have one more question, and then I want to kind of tell guys a little bit about plant a seed.
I do. I have a question, and I think this is something important that we haven't actually covered. Well, first, the idea that I had when you said about painting the clay pots, and you said that probably for younger people, it reminds me this weekend, my 22-year-old niece told me something. She said, Tia, I stopped not doing things just because people say it's for kids. If I want to bring a bucket to the beach and do a sandcastle, I'm going to do it. I don't care what people think about it.
I
It's like,
love it.
can I be like you? So, so yes, we can even bring the clay pots to an adult party, and I bet you
Absolutely.
we are gonna have a great fun. The last tip that I wanted to tell you about or ask
Oh,
you
by the way,
about.
if
Mhm.
I can just interject one thing there, but remember what you were going to say. The other thing about the kid thing, especially, I mean, we definitely do this at adult parties. I 100% agree, and do fun, cool things like that at an adult party. But the kid party thing is great too, because the mom and dad or, guardian can join in and do it too. And it's so much more community, because sometimes the parents are sort of left in the corner to just chat with each other and the kids are all gathering. But it would be so fun in America. We are not as community with the tias and the grandmamas and everything as in some Latin countries, or most Latin countries. So it would be a way for people to kind of play together. I'm all about playing together.
I
So
know
I just
you're
want to interject
playful.
that.
Yes. The last tip I want you to tell us about, and I do know that you have a nice idea for that, makeup removers. We are out there. If we couldn't use makeup, that would be super better, because the lack of integrity in the makeup industry is horrible, and it'll be just ideal that we definitely stop using them. But we still use it. We're transitioning into not do it anymore. But while we use it, what do you do to remove makeup from your face?
Well, what I do first of all is what I wash my face with and all of that. I don't use chemicals on my body at all. So if I can't eat it, for real, that I don't put it on my body. So the stuff I put on my body are things like yogurt, coconut oil, avocado, turmeric, let's see what else, cucumber, rice water. I use everything like that. Also, coffee grounds are amazing exfoliators. Oh my God, guys, take coffee grounds. When you finish watching this show, go in and take your coffee grounds and just do this yummy, yummy in the sink and wash it off. You will not believe how beautiful your hands
And
feel.
it's actually a good idea. And I'm interjecting again. I'm sorry, but I can't help it.
Go
It's
for it.
actually a good idea for the food that is in the refrigerator. We were talking earlier about not throwing it away. So, how
Yes,
many times we see an avocado and it's kind of brown, black? We just throw
mhm,
it, and people don't realize that you can do a great hair mask with an avocado.
exactly. And so, I mean, I do the same things. I had students for many, many years, and I never gave them paper napkins. And I think if I add up the tens of thousands of paper napkins I saved by not letting them have them. Because again, my point is whatever you're eating, you can just rub into your hands. Like whatever you're eating should be so healthy for you that you can rub it into your hands. If there's a little olive oil, if there's a little, anything you're eating. So we don't really need napkins, people. So as far as the face goes, I mean, yes, to take makeup off would be those things: avocado oil, coconut oil, yogurt is fantastic. Any of the natural oil, sesame oil, any of those are absolutely fabulous. And again, most of those things come in glass, so you're not even using all those plastic containers that the drugstore products come in, or the department store products come in. So that would be my recommendation. I mean, I use some regular makeup, I will say, but I again use it to the very, very tippy end, so that and I just use what I need. So that would be my thought about that. And there are many, many other ideas, like wrapping presents. I haven't bought wrapping paper in, I don't know, 30 years,
What do you
because
do? Newspaper?
I do okay, a couple different tips I do when I'm watching the clock. For example, if you get takeout food from a Chinese restaurant or even from Whole Foods, if you get some things in that aren't too oily, I just wipe it out and then I use those containers for wrapping. It's so fun. You can put so many cool things in there. And then I save things like I don't take plastic bags if I buy a t-shirt or clothing at a store. And shoes, tissue comes in. So I save all those and then I use that when I'm wrapping. So things do come my way because just the way things are delivered or whatever, but then I save those things and then I reuse them. Of course, anytime I get gifts, I save every tidbit of any wrapping that people have given me, and then I just have a whole wrapping drawer where I keep everything. So I have ropes, I have beads, I have, another great thing to wrap things in is if somebody does give you flowers and it's in that ceramic, or what do I want to say, cellophane
Cellophane.
bag, that is a great wrapping thing because you can just tie a bow on one side, put your gift in with a little tissue paper, tie a bow on the other side, and give it. So pretty much everything you get, use it another time, people. Use it another time.
We are
So we
so
need to end,
grateful to
right?
have you. We are about to end, and you know what? Let's go ahead and ask you before we leave, where can we find you? Where can our audience find you?
So you can find me, you can Google me on YouTube, Sunny Chayes, spelled SUNNYCHAYES at Whole Life Times. You can find me on Solutionary Sundays on ABC and here next week. And you can also, just Google me and there all different things come up. My articles come up and all of that. And also Twitter and Facebook and all that is my name. The song I'm about to sing is a song called Plant a Seed, and I'm not going to sing the whole thing. I'm just going to give you a little tidbit because the official song is on Mindalia Music, so you guys can find it there. But this song, a friend of mine wrote for me to sing. And because if I could write music, this would be the song that I would write because it has my heart so much. So it's called Plant a Seed, and it really is the message about what we can do that makes a difference, and we do make a difference. So guys, until next time, I'm going to go out with this song. So here we go. Plant a seed, watch it grow right where fear and anger live, and the wall looms high. Shine a light on the soil of forgiveness where we all live and move beneath the same sweet sky. Watch the night turn into day as the gentle wind of wisdom blows the boundaries all away, and we'll find we have all the love we need, and it all begins when we plant a seed.
Beautiful. Thank
Thank you.
you.
It goes on from there, but I will end there because it chokes me up.
I know. Thank you. Thank you. We are so grateful to be able to have you so often, and to that you are part of our team and that you share your ideas through the Mandalia TV cameras. To our audience also, thank you. We are also grateful that you're here. We're sending you a very big hug from our heart to yours, and until next time.